Sally dumps Billy after talking with Adam and Nick reaches for fentanyl after raging out. Today on Young and Restless, Victor gives Kane a taste of his own drug, Nick makes a bad decision, and Sally delivers bad news to Billy. Out on bail, Mariah drove Tessa down and also faced the fury of Abby. When Kane arrives at the Newman estate, Trim, Victor, and Nikki ask him how it feels to be squinched over by Phyllis and Billy. It doesn't feel veritably good, he admits, reminding them they're all sinking. He wonders why they suspect Billy, so they fill him in on the Abbott coming by to distract them. Kane asks Victor to let Lily and the kiddies go. Victor says it's not his problem that Phyllis pulled a fast one, that however, he still needs to get him Newman back, if he wants his family released. Kane doesn't know how to do that. Find a way. Victor bellows. Ashby says he's formally apologized. Victor doesn't suppose that's enough, however. He'll no way see Lily and the halves, if he doesn't bring back what he wants. Once Kane live, Nikki asks her hubby if they should trust Kane to bring everything back to them. He damn well better, says Victor. Ashby has no choice but to do his bidding. Nikki prodiges if Lily will continue playing along after she learns what's happened. She can see he has another plan and warns she's not going on with any further rapes. He promises he'll come Phyllis and Billy's worst agony. Sally takes a quaff and heads over to see Adam at the bar in the GCAC. She assures him she had nothing to do with what Billy and Phyllis did. When she admits they aren't in a good place, he admits he's not sorry to hear that. She repeats none of this was her idea. He's surprised to hear Bully has folded Newman Media into Abbott Dispatches. Sally is surprised he didn't know this. Adam admits he nearly admires Phyllis' audacity. She's squinched over 4 generations. He's sure that his pater will still crush her and Billy. Adam asks if she and Billy have been blown piecemeal. He questions whether Billy will be suitable to keep his hands off her company. She says she has a strong contract and he reminds her laws are broken all the time. Spectra reprises she was no way on board with any of this. Adam asks how much longer she'll put up with Billy. She doesn't suppose he has any right to judge how another man treats her. He agrees, but everything is about to escalate. Adam hopes she's not involved with Billy when effects get nastier. He's sure she's on the losing side and she needs to look out for herself. Adam goes to the estate to fill his pater. And Nikki in on what Sally told him. They assume Billy won't be concentrated on Chancellor. Nikki finds this hard to take. Her hubby assures her this is only temporary. She wonders what Catherine would say to her now. How did effects get so out of hand? Victor assumes they condemn him, but they contend they do'n't. He yells that he doesn't lose and will crush them. At home, Billy flashes back to fighting with Sally about his intentions until Nick hobbles in. He threatens he'll be sticking teeth if he keeps talking. Billy doesn't feel hovered and gloats about winning. Nick says he won't have time to publish business cards before he's lost everything. Billy says moment is sweet. They dispute about who has the right to be tone righteous. Nick accuses him of lashing out like a 3-time-old and they argue about what happened to Chancellor. The Abbott complains the Newmans are just being sore disasters. He'll admit his fight is fueled by particular enmity. The Newman says that's why he always loses. This time will be no different. They continue to dispute about Phyllis and who's to condemn. Billy makes it clear he and Phyllis aren't mates. Nick tells him he's making a mistake and Billy orders him to go. Sally arrives. Nick tells her she's wasting her life with this punk and walks out. She tells Billy that Adam told her to stay down from him. He hopes he's not believing the Newman scrap. He apologizes about last night and hopes they can move forward. Sally says she needs to pack her effects and move out for her own sake. He keeps lying and saying he wants her, but he really wants power and prestige and a sense of belonging. He doesn't see anything wrong with fighting for his dreams. She thinks he's been dazed and they're over. We're done, she announces. He asks her not to do this. She says he did it and there's no coming back. Billy loves her. She loves him too, but he wants it all and she was no way enough. At Crimson Lights, Chelsea is surprised to see Sharon back at work so soon. Sharon is trying to stay busy after her emotional many days. Chelsea asks her how Mariah anticipated this to end. She starts apologizing for saying that. Sharon snaps, but Chelsea assures her she sympathizes. Sharon blames Ian for everything. He trained her to be evil, but her big heart saved her until the demons came back. Chelsea is sure she can help her now. Sharon says that will be hard since she's pushing her down. She'll find the light again, Chelsea assures her, telling her what a great mama she is and wondering at her strength. Sharon explains that Nick has been a huge help, but the agonies in her life have made her realize that what don't kill her makes her stronger. They talk about all the spare time Chelsea has to spend with her son now. They dish about him having a gal. The content goes back to Mariah and Chelsea assures her she'll be fine. They sputter about the mess with the Newmans and Chelsea can't see effects ever going back to the way they were. As they bandy how worried Victor must be, Sharon admits she's not surprised Phyllis is in the middle of this. Chelsea doesn't know how Phyllis can do all this to Nick. Sharon admits everyone always forgives Phyllis, but this time that might not be. Nick enters in pain, asking for water, grunting. He joins them in complaining about Phyllis losing her moral compass. Chelsea speculates and Nick says that his partner is just selfish. Crushing a water bottle, he says she'll pay for this for the rest of her life. When Sally leaves to take a call, Sharon offers to make Nick some tea to calm him down. As she steps down, he notices that he's out of pain meds, but he still has a bag of fentanyl. On this explosive day in The Young and the Restless, Genoa City feels like a grease paint cask ready to crump, with backstabbings, broken connections, and dangerous impulses colliding in ways that promise lasting consequences. The occasion picks up in the fate of mounting commercial warfare and particular vendettas, and every corner of city seems to echo with Victor Newman's fury. At the Newman estate, the primogenitor of the dynasty, Victor Newman, is in rare form. Having been overreached by Phyllis and Billy in a move that temporarily destabilized his conglomerate, Victor refuses to accept defeat. His battle with Cain Ashby is icy and ruthless. Cain, hopeless to secure Lily and the children's safety, stands before Victor knowing he holds no influence. Victor's demand is simple and brutal: get Newman back under his control or lose everything. Nikki watches the exchange with an admixture of concern and sword. She knows her hubby well enough to fate that formally he draws a line in the beach, he'll scorch the earth to defend it. Cain leaves the estate shaken, apprehensive that Victor's trouble isn't empty bluster but a pledge of obliteration. Meanwhile, at the GCAC bar, emotional crosscurrents swirl as Sally Spectra seeks out Adam Newman. Sally insists she had no part in Billy and Phyllis' scheme, but Adam's calculating aspect suggests his measuring her fidelity and her vulnerability. Adam, ever the strategist, subtly shops seeds of mistrustfulness. He warns her that Billy's war with the Newmans will only escalate and that contributory damage is ineluctable. Though Adam claims he has no right to judge her choices, he easily hopes she'll detach from Billy before the storm worsens. Sally's pride flares, but beneath it lies a painful verity: her relationship with Billy has come strained by ambition and preoccupation. When Adam latterly relays Sally's intel to Victor and Nikki, it confirms their dubitation. That Billy is spread thin, detracted by his power play. Victor interprets this as opportunity, however. Victor can strike where it hurts most, if Billy's focus fractures. Back at Billy's place, pressure boils over when Nick storms in. Nick Newman is raw with wrathfulness, his fidelity to his family fueling a diatribe against Billy. The two men disaccord in a blistering argument that lays bare times of resentment. Billy gloats about his apparent palm, while Nick warns that triumph over the Newmans is always temporary. Their exchange is lower about business and further about identity, who they are, what drives them, and why they can't stop fighting each other. Nick accuses Billy of acting out of jejune malignancy, while Billy counters that the Newmans can't stand losing control. It's a battle of self-esteem and doctrines, neither willing to concede. When Sally arrives and hears Nick call Billy a punk, the atmosphere shifts again. Nick exits, but not before delivering a final warning that Sally deserves better. What follows is the emotional crux of the occasion. Sally confronts Billy, her voice pulsing yet bent. She tells him she needs to move out. Billy tries to frame his ambition as passion, his hunger for power as a necessity for survival in Genoa City's Machiavellian terrain. But Sally sees through it. She recognizes that in Billy's pursuit of prestige and belonging, she has come secondary. "We're done," she says, and the words land like a hammer blow. Billy pleads, averring he loves her. She admits she loves him too, but love isn't enough when trust has eroded. For Sally, this is about tone preservation. She refuses to be contributory damage in a war she no way wanted. Her departure leaves Billy alone with the echo of his own choices, a concave palm ringing in his cognizance. Across city at crimson lights, Sharon and Chelsea bandy Mariah's recent fermentation. Sharon Newman is trying to undergird herself after emotional bull of SMR, while Chelsea Lawson offers empathy and stimulant. Their discussion touches on adaptability, the idea that survival can forge strength. Yet the shadow of Ian and once traumas lingers heavily. When Nick arrives, easily in pain, the tone darkens. He rails against Phyllis, criminating her of egoism and moral collapse. His wrathfulness manifests physically. He crushes a water bottle in his hand, his jaw tight with rage. Sharon, ever nurturing, offers to make tea, hoping to soothe him. And also comes the nipping turn. Alone for a moment, Nick realizes his out-of-specified pain drug. His injury throbs, but so does his fury. In his fund, or maybe put away in his things, is a bag of fentanyl. The sight of it's a crossroads. Fentanyl, a substance synonymous with desolation, represents both escape and destruction. Nick's breathing grows heavy as he contemplates it. The emotional weight of treason, family pressure, and particular failure converges in this fragile moment. The camera lingers on his face, landing the battle within pride versus pain, control versus rendition. The occasion closes not with resolution but with brewing peril. Victor plots retaliation, Kane scrambles for a result, Billy rolls from Sally's departure, and Nick teeters on the point of a disastrous choice. Genoa City has always thrived on power struggles and romantic heartache, but this chapter underscores commodity darker, the cost of preoccupation and unbounded rage. In classic cleaner fashion, alliances shift and moral lines blur, but the mortal stakes feel sorrowfully real. As the credits roll, observers are left wondering who'll fall first: the conglomerate, the connections, or the men whose pride threatens to destroy them. The fallout continues to ripple across Genoa City on the young and the restless, and what began as a commercial power play now threatens to helical into deeply particular desolation. The emotional foresharks from Sally's bifurcation with Billy and Nick's dangerous temptation don't simply fade. They consolidate, layering pressure upon pressure until nearly every major player feels the strain. Nick stands alone for a long moment, gaping at the small bag in his hand. The fentanyl feels heavier than it should, like it carries the weight of every mistake he's ever made. His jaw tightens. He tells himself it's just about the pain, just about the injury, the palpitating memorial of how near he came to losing control before. But he knows better. The physical pang is manageable. It's the emotional fury that's unsupportable. He renewals Billy's trim expression. He hears Phyllis' apologies. He feels Victor's prospects pressing down on him like a vice. Being a Newman means no way showing weakness, no way admitting you're overwhelmed. And yet in this quiet moment, he feels exactly that, overwhelmed. His thumb skirmishes against the plastic seal. His breathing becomes shallow. From the other room, Sharon's voice drifts noiselessly as she fills a kettle. The normality of it, a kettle, a mug, the soft clink of ceramic, cuts through the chaos in his mind. He closes his eyes. For a split second, he imagines what would be if he gave in. A rush. Silence. Relief. And also what? Nick exhales sprucely and shoves the bag back into his fund just as Sharon re-enters with tea. She studies him precisely. Sharon Newman has known Nick utmost of her adult life. She recognizes that stormy look in his eyes. He forces a half smile and thanks her, brushing off her concern. But Sharon isn't wisecracked. You don't have to carry this alone, she tells him gently. Nick nods, but he doesn't respond. Because being a Newman has always meant carrying everything alone. Across city, Billy sits in his darkened living room, the silence suffocating. The words "we're done" echo relentlessly. He runs a hand through his hair, replaying Sally's tearful resoluteness. He told himself she'd understand. He told himself she believed in him. But the verity has landed like a gut punch. She saw commodity in him he didn't want to defy. Ambition. Preoccupation. A bottomless need to prove himself. He pours a drink but doesn't touch it. Rather, he gapes at the megacity lights outside the window and thinks about what it means to win. He secured influence. He embarrassed the Newmans. He aligned with Phyllis in a move bold enough to shake the entire commercial scale. And yet his no way felt more alone. There's a knock at the door. For a transitory alternate, hope flares, Sally. But it's not her. It's Phyllis. Phyllis Summers strides in without staying for an assignation, her energy electric and restless. She's riding the high of dislocation, induced they've changed the game permanently. She talks strategy, optics, coming moves. Billy slightly listens. She notices incontinently. Don't tell me this is about Sally. It's always about commodity, he mutters. Phyllis rolls her eyes but softens slightly. She insists that offerings are necessary when you're reshaping power structures. She frames Sally's departure as temporary collateral. Billy snaps at that. Sally wasn't contributory. Phyllis tilts her head, studying him. You wanted this, Billy. You wanted to beat Victor at his own game. He did. But he didn't realize how important it would bring. At the Newman estate, Victor stands before the fireplace, silent and calculating. Victor Newman doesn't simply reply, he orchestrates. Adam's information about Sally confirms what Victor suspected. Billy's foundation is cracking. Adam watches his father precisely. Adam Newman knows better than anyone that Victor respects strength and despises vacillation. He subtly suggests applying pressure not just through business channels but through emotional vulnerabilities. Victor's eyes narrow slightly. You suppose I should exploit his heartache? Victor asks. Adam doesn't answer directly. He doesn't have to. Nikki weighs in, uneasy. Nikki Newman warns that pushing too hard could boomerang. But Victor insists this is war. Billy drew first blood. Victor doesn't lose. And he clearly doesn't forgive demotion. Meanwhile, Sally packs her things with pulsing hands. Every folded blouse feels like a memory. She pauses when she finds one of Billy's old musical tees mixed in with her effects. For her alternate, she presses it to her face, breathing in the faint scent of him. She loves him. That's the cruelest part. But she refuses to tie her future to a man chasing confirmation at the expenditure of stability. Adam's warning lingers in her mind not because she trusts him fully, but because part of her knows he's right. Her phone buzzes. It's Adam. She hesitates before answering. He doesn't bewail. He doesn't push. He simply asks if she's okay. The wimpiness in his voice surprises her. For all his manipulations, Adam has always understood ambition's dark pull. Just promise me you're choosing yourself, he says still. Sally quaffs. For formally, I am. But indeed as she says it, she feels the pang of loss. Nick's night grows darker. After leaving Sharon's place, he retreats to his own home. The silence there feels different, emptier, heavier. He pulls the bag of fentanyl out again, placing it on the kitchen counter. He gapes at it like it's an adversary. His mind spirals Billy's arrogance. Phyllis treason. Victor's insolvable norms. The weight of always being the dependable son. The strong family. The moral center. His tired. The temptation isn't about partying or recklessness. It's about escape. About quieting the rage clawing at his inwards. His phone rings suddenly, startling him. It's Victoria. Victoria Newman launches into frustration about Billy's maneuvering. Nick listens, distracted. She senses commodity out in his responses. Are you okay? She asks. Fine, he lies. After the call ends, he looks back at the bag. The interruption shakes him slightly. He thinks about his kiddies. About Sharon's steady eyes. About the illustration he's supposed to set. With a frustrated cry, he sweeps the bag into the trash. But he doesn't take it out. The peril still sits there, only elevation down. Kane, meanwhile, meets Lily in secret. Kane Ashby tries to assure her, but she senses his withholding commodity. Lily Winters demands honesty. When he eventually admits Victor is obliging him to restore Newman control or threat losing his family's safety, Lily's expression hardens. You're letting him blackmail you? She asks incredulously. Kane insists he has no choice. Lily counters that there's always a choice. Victor thrives on fear. Kane's voice cracks as he admits he's alarmed of failing again. Of losing everything permanently. Lily softens slightly but makes one thing clear: she'll not be a pawn. Still, she may decide to fight on her own terms, if Victor wants war. Back at Crimson Lights, Sharon confides in Chelsea. Chelsea Lawson listens as Sharon expresses concern about Nick's volatility. They both know how fluently wrathfulness can helical into tone destruction. Chelsea reflects on her own once miscalculations, her own battles with internal health and poor choices. She urges Sharon to keep close watch. Occasionally